Hey there friends, I'm Jack Taylor and welcome back to another production tutorial, and today we're going to be editing audio for better attack power. The reason for having audio tracks edited is to ensure that all the instrumentation sound completely tied together, it's at the right time at the right beat, because without editing the audio, everything's going to sound completely out of place and sloppy. And I see this with bands all the time, that they've already produced a track, they've consolidated all their audio files, they send them to me for mixing, but they don't ever edit the audio. And this is extremely important if you want to get the best results possible for a better mix. So without wasting your time and rambling on about it, I'm going to show you how I edit my audio tracks. But before we get started, if you found this video helpful, then give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down for your thoughts or any queries, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. And if you're also feeling generous, I have a Patreon page where you can become a member to get instant access to my vault from just £3 a month. Your unconditional support will be very much appreciated. Now with that said, let's go on with the video. So as you can see here, we're using Reaper because I like the editing capabilities of it, and we have the project here that we've been doing the other time when I did a video on recording guitars the right way. So if you haven't seen that video, go check it out first before you watch this video. It's very much appreciated. We already have the drums all notated and it's all quantized, as well as the bass MIDI. We don't have to worry about that, so we can move on to doing the audio here, which are the left and right guitars. So by the end of this video, I'll show you before and after, but for now, let's hear the guitars with the processing on and the processing off. So realistically saying, you can tell the difference between distorted guitars and the DI guitars. So obviously you can hear closely with DI guitars, which are much more easier to work with. As much as the OG metalheads out there like to diss on the DI guitars, I personally find it easier that way because you can actually pinpoint where the transients are in this, because this is the most important process of this. We have to get them in the right time at the right beat. And sure, if you want distorted guitars coming out from an amplifier into like a microphone and then through the interface, then politely do so, but I just find it easier that way, just doing it like that, because with distorted guitars, it's really hard to see where the transients are hitting. Now, there are three ways you can edit audio. You can either do it by manually splitting the audio, you can dynamic split them automatically and then quantizing them, which is the easiest and fastest process you can do, or you can time stretch them, which I don't 100% recommend, which I'll tell you why soon. Starting off with this beat right here, you untoggle the snap here, or you can press Alt S and then just line it up here just like that. Now the whole thing with manually splitting is that it's much cleaner and better, but it requires so much time and it's just too much work. So it's a very time consuming process. Anyway, you can do this by splitting it just like that, and then you can go to the next one, making sure that the snap enable is off. You do this, and then you go to the next one. If you can see here, just do that. So I'll zoom in for you so it's just nice and clear for you to see without that being off the screen, like this. And then we're just on to the next part. So this is just an example that I'd be showing you guys. If you find that the transient is a lot more later, then you just, if you look closely, like this is the beat here and this one is obviously off the beat. So to fix that, you just pull this audio file back and then you just push this back, and then what to do is just do it like this. So just have that pulled back a bit, and then just put a crossfade over it. So like if you can, just overlap this audio just like that, so that there's no pops and clicks that you might end up hearing, because that's the nasty bit that you don't want to hear with this audio. So you want to keep it as clean as possible. We'll move on to the next one. So this is an offbeat one, so that was also a bit early. No, sorry, that was a bit late. So make sure that it weighs up with the kick right here, which you can see if you can. It's quite dark here, so you can see that there. So that's the kick. We want the guitars to be right on the kick, and again, just pull this bit of audio back and then just fade it right like that. So this is how you can get your audio to sound completely normal without even messing it up. Actually, I'm going to be telling you about time stretching it. Now, time stretching is also another way of editing audio, which I still don't 100% recommend, because what happens is if you were to time stretch the audio outward, you're kind of like deteriorating the artifacts of the audio, which will sound grainy and it will also sound completely crap. However, you might get away with it if it's just a minuscule stretch, but I still wouldn't recommend it. Now, anyway, moving on. I've took out all the edits that I've just done because I'm about to show you the easiest way of editing your audio tracks. So we're going to to go into dynamic splitting that I personally recommend doing. So the only way that you can dynamic split is that you highlight both of these audio tracks because we want to simultaneously work with them. So highlight them and then you go to edit, dynamic split, or press D, and then it shows you a few options that you can use to dynamically split the items. And from there you can see all the splits which are highlighted in green and they're dotted going vertical. So where the transients are, that's where you want to be focusing on slicing. However, you need to play around with how many reduced splits and the minimum slice length that you need, because you're going to end up chopping all of that off and it's just completely pointless of doing that. But this depends on how many chugs that there are. So this is quite a chuggy track, so I would think that there's like 1/16 of transients. So we want to be focusing on the transients that we want to cut. Okay, so I just had to play around with it, and again, like I say, make sure the audio tracks are highlighted and have the splits where you want them splitted, and then once you're done with that, then you can split them. You do also have gate and the action to perform bit, which I don't tend to mess with, but if there's a reason behind that, just let us know down in the comments, and so that it helps people out. And once you're done with that, press split, and then you have all the audio tracks that are split. So to quantize them, we're going to right click onto them, we'll go down to item processing, quantize item possessions to grid, we'll click that. And then it shows you a few options where you want them quantized or how you want it to be quantized. So quantize to 1/16 notes, which I personally think is the way forward for this. And then you got other things like move group times with selective items, extend starts of items to overlap with earlier items by 10 milliseconds. Now all of this I just don't tend to mess with. I just focus on where I want them quantized to. So it's 1/16. So again, like I say, if there's a reason behind it, let us know down in the comments. And once you're done with all this, just click process and then it just quantizes it for you. This isn't 100% accurate for what I just done. This bit of software likes to think where the transients should sit. However, you'll have to fix this yourself if this is in the wrong place. The next thing we also need to know is that there's not any glitchy areas or any empty areas that are kind of pointless to have in there. So we need to make sure that this doesn't happen or it is going to sound glitchy in your song. So if you zoom in and just scroll through this door, even though there's going to be like a million things going on, but just carefully scroll through and then see if there's any like empty areas that you need to fill in. If you find that the audio's like this, just highlight them and then just fill it in just like that, and just make sure that there's a crossfade over it so there's no pops and clicks on it. There'll also be bits where there's an empty bit of audio that is not needed, especially for a breakdown if you're a very chuggy band. Just highlight those and just press delete. Just get rid of the things that is just not needed, because unless your guitar is gated, it's going to make really good impact with your breakdown. So if you see audio like this and this is already quantized to this beat, get rid of that and then just pull this by a bit right here and then just put a fade on it, which can go at the top right hand corner, and then just grab it and then just put a fade on it. Yeah, so yeah, you just do it like that, but obviously you'll find that there's so many mistakes going on because I did say it's not 100% accurate, so you'll have to go fix this. So whilst you edit the rest of your guitar tracks, I'm going to do the same off camera and then we can show you the before and after. Okay, so what I just done off camera, I've just done all the audio tracks. It did take a bit of trial and error that you might be going through right now with all the dynamic splitting and the quantizing, but just have a play around with it and then see if you can get to perfect it that well. You might have to do a few edits manually, which is a bit of a time-consuming like process, but you'll get there in the end. So for the chuggy breakdown bit, let's hear the before. And after. Like I say, unless your guitar is gated, this is the result that you get. So yeah, pretty much this is how I edit my guitar. So if you found this video helpful, give it a like, leave down a comment about your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more production and mixing tutorials that I'm going to be bringing out this year and for the new year too. So yeah, thank you very much. Peace out.